4, 3, 2. Hello, Austin Dill.
Hey, Lamb.
Dude, you've been here for a long time. This is your 5th year at Evangel, man. Before, as we get started, just talk to me about, the changes you've sort of seen and how, different, the campus seems to you now than compared to, the first time you came on campus.
Yeah, there's been a lot of changes, especially with, Dr. Rakes coming in. He's put a lot of money into a lot of different things.
So, you've seen 3 presidents.
I have.
Yeah.
I have.
2 official, 1 interim.
Yeah. Carol Taylor, Mr. Wood, and now Rakes. Yeah. But yeah, no, a lot of changes. The basketball courts, of course, that's happening right now. Just in terms of I guess some of the buildings too. They were here before I got here, but more money's been put into them.
Do you remember the first time you walked on campus?
Yes, I think a little bit. Yeah.
So were you one of those guys that committed before your senior season, or did you wait until the summer after? Walk me through that. Walk me through how you got here.
Okay, so I remember when I first literally saw Evangel. I was still in high school, but we were going around. My family and I were just going around different schools because I knew I wanted to play baseball somewhere. I wasn't a big kid. I was, probably 5.
I know what that's like.
5'11" at the time. I didn't weigh more than 125 pounds probably, and so a lot of
you weighed 125 when you came into college. My goodness, and what do you weigh now?
170.
Woo!
Still not up there, but it's better.
I mean, still that's impressive. Did you put most of that on the freshman year? Did you get the freshman 15 or whatever they call it?
Yeah. And then just every year I've gradually tried to at least get a little more. But.
See, that's what for me, I came in weighing $135, so give me 10 more pounds, But I remember the first year, because you remember how small I was, and I was able to gain literally 30 pounds within the first year being here, and then after that it's just been static. It's just completely flatlined.
Dude,
I at this point I just try to maintain because it's so hard. You have to eat so much, you have to work out so much, and of course we're student athletes. We only have so much time on our hands.
So I'll get back to your when I first got here.
Yeah.
Along with the weight thing, I literally lost the past 2 weeks because I just wasn't eating well. My appetite wasn't there, and literally missing out on a couple meals. I mean, for guys like us, that's a lot. Some other guys, they can do that and afford not to lose any weight.
When you lived on campus, were you an everyday breakfast eater? Mm-hmm.
Were
you?
I wouldn't say every single day, but it was usually breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And
I tried to do that. I mean, I did do that my sophomore year, but at some point it's man, if you don't have a class that early,
it's you want to sleep in.
Yeah. But so walk me. Was it Coach? How'd you get in contact with Evangel?
Right. No, so. At the time, Jason Gerald, who's on our team. Of course, yeah. His older sister, we're good family friends with him because I played travel ball with Gerald.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah, so when I found out he was coming here, I was like, dude, that's sweet because he was the only guy I was going to know.
He was in your class, right? He graduated last year. Okay. Yeah.
And so I played travel ball with him when we were younger. We literally live 15 minutes from each other.
Oh, okay.
Played high school ball against each other, stuff like that. And we knew his older sister went here. She played basketball. Well, another kid that Gerald and I played travel ball with, his name's Zach Potts. His family also went here. His older brother played baseball here, Brad Potts.
Brad Potts. And that's pretty close to Brad Pitt.
He graduated.
What a name.
He graduated, I believe, right before I got here. And so we already knew those two. And so we were like, well, we'll give it a look, especially because I was going to a Catholic high school. Not Catholic, but family put me in a Christian environment, and so they wanted somewhere else where it was a Christian environment. And
so you went to a Catholic high school. Did you go through a Catholic school all growing up? Or Okay,
from
gotcha.
Pre-K all the way through.
So does your family have a Catholic background?
No.
Really? Okay.
That's what's surprising.
See, my family does have a Catholic background. Right. We come from Italy.
Okay.
So we got that Catholicism running deep.
My family's actually Baptist, but I tell a lot of people
interesting.
I'm probably more Catholic than I am Baptist, just because I was raised in that, so I know more about Catholicism than I do.
Yeah. And here's and this is Pentecostal, so it's
right.
a whole new world.
And dude, right. And so I'm learning a lot of different things. But we heard about it through them, and we knew I wanted to play baseball, so we came here and looked around. And I remember who gave me my tour. It was Taylor Wood, who played on the team as well.
Gotcha. Was he like working with the administration or okay? Gotcha,
yeah, he was giving tour guides and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
when was this? Was this like the summer before?
This was like in January, like literally my
okay.
senior year.
Your
so
senior,
I graduated
senior
in
year.
May.
Okay, yeah. Okay, gotcha.
I graduate in May, and so we're like here. I think it's January, right as the team's getting ready for spring, like we are.
Yep.
And it was freezing outside.
Ooh.
And I told my parents prior to getting like out of the car, like, hey, I don't feel good. I said my stomach's upset. Like,
oh, no.
can we do this another day? And they said no, we already canceled once, and it was because another school. We went to visit Murray State just for academics.
Gotcha.
With a friend.
Murray State that's school in Kentucky?
Kentucky, yeah. And it's really close.
And you
weren't
going to play baseball there? You're just
no,
for academics.
And my mom, dude, she's the best because like anywhere we went, she was like, "Well, we need to talk to the coach." I'm like, Mom, like I love you, I said, but I'm not like. I believe I could play D1 now, but back then it was just like, dude, I'm not near the size as these other guys and stuff.
Yeah.
But we already canceled once, and so she's like, or my mom and dad both were like, well, we need to, go on the tour today and, just look around and then we'll get you back. I said, okay, whatever. So we went on the tour, and Brand I didn't know the coaches or nothing yet.
Oh, so this wasn't like a baseball visit.
No.
This was kind of just like an academic visit to the school.
Well, so let me get to that.
Go.
We scheduled with Taylor Wood to talk to Coach Brand and Coach Osner at the time for a tryout.
Gotcha.
And so we went on the tour. Taylor showed us around, stuff like that, went all the buildings. Then we went down to the field house, and I met Coach Osner and Coach Brand. But I want to say Brand I met like later in the practice, but it was really Coach Osner who I was talking to.
Mm-hmm.
I remember taking ground balls with Jose and Rafa.
Oh, yeah, because you came in a two-way.
I came in a two-way, yeah.
Yeah, I never got to see Dill as a two-way.
Hey, may not have had the most pop, but I was good with the glove. And so I took ground balls with Jose and Rafa, and I still brag that I didn't miss a ground ball, but they both did. But did that. I hit, I threw, and then I said, hey, Coach Osner, can I go to the bathroom real quick? And he's like, yeah, it's just down the hall. I went in there. I don't know if you want this on here, but like I crapped my pants out. Like I did not feel good. And so I came back and, he offered me the basic, like, I think it was like $1,000 scholarship. Mm-hmm. And prior to that, we went to like Hannibal LaGrange, and we kind of saw like what they were working with, and we were like, no, like, don't want to. And they offered me like literally.
Where was this again? You said
Hannibal LaGrange.
Where's that at?
It's up north in Missouri.
Are they in NAIA?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they're in NAIA. But we saw what they had and kind of like what they were going to offer, and we were like, no, it's all good. And I think I went to Missouri Valley as well too for like a tryout. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember how that went really, but I remember I had a buddy who was going there, mm-hmm. and so we tried that out. But came here, they did that, and we thought about it for a while, and we were like, yeah, we'll do that, So
they offered you that day, mm-hmm. like you had the whole talk and everything mm-hmm. in Brand's office and all that. Yeah,
and we're like, yeah, I'll play.
Yeah.
And right after that, my parents took me to, I think it was Mercy, and I just threw up everywhere on the floor.
Oh my gosh.
Like in the lobby. And come to find out, I had the flu that whole day.
Oh no.
So, some would say it was
so
a
you
Jordan
had no
flu
air,
kind of thing.
You had no airs with the flu.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's that Jordan moment. That's right.
But it's just like a cool memory. Be like, and I told my parents I didn't feel good, which was truthful, but more than anything, it was just I was nervous.
Yeah.
And so...
Yeah, couple those two together, and that's a bad recipe.
And so that's what kind of led... But that's how I heard about Evangel, how I'm here, stuff like that. So, and it's 3.5 hours away from home, so it's close, but not too far away to where my parents can still come.
Where are you from again?
Sykeston, Missouri. It's
Sykeston,
the Boot Hill part.
It's where?
The Boot Hill part of Missouri.
Which part of
Southeast?
Someone from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I don't know
Southeast.
the perfect geography of Missouri. Southeast Missouri, got you.
Yeah.
So that's even though that's in state, that's farther from where I'm from. Tulsa's only about 2.5 hours. That's a pretty decent little drive.
Yeah, and it's not hard. It's literally you just get on one exit. Yeah, and it's 200 miles straight shot almost. So
you came in freshman year on $1,000 scholarship.
I think it was 1,000 or at least 1,500. I think it was 1,500 maybe, but. No, we're higher than that. Yeah.
And how'd you like your freshman season?
Dude, it was fun. We had a lot of JUCO guys and transfers, and
I hear so many stories about this team. I hear you guys were like really good.
I could talk for hours about that team.
Yeah,
and the reason why is just because, dude, like they immediately like took me in, and I didn't know a whole lot of those. Like, literally all I knew was Gerald, you know, and the first guy I met here was Sank and Harrison Stevens and stuff like that. You know, and just like how anybody does eventually. But, yeah, that team was good. And we didn't play to our potential sometimes.
So I think y'all's record was like 28-28.
Yeah, and it was kind of like...
You played a lot of games that year.
It wasn't a disappointing season, you know, but we knew we should have done better than what we did.
Where'd you guys finish in the division? Do you remember?
No, I don't remember. I want to say it was near the top.
Because I know you guys, at least players from that team, always regurgitate about how you beat CMU 3 out of 4 times during the series.
Yeah.
I can only... Was that series here?
Yeah.
I can only imagine how hyped that series is. Because in my career, we are 1-7 against CMU.
Yeah, and that series where we took 3 or 4, it was to prevent them, I believe, from celebrating on our field to claim the division.
Gotcha.
And so we went in, like, we knew we weren't going to take the division that series, but we wanted to prevent them from celebrating on our
play
field.
Spoiler, yeah.
So we came in with a little extra motivation. But overall, that year, it's just kind of disappointing at the end because our right fielder, who was a Gold Glove right fielder, didn't miss a single ball the whole year, made his one error in the conference tournament.
Oh, no.
And they scored a few runs off that to take the lead, I think. And
to think that was the last team that's made the conference tournament.
Right. And dude, I mention that a lot because, well, before I get off track, our DH, our first baseman, and our closer, same dude, was from California. His name's Tanner McVeigh.
I've heard his name thrown around a lot.
Dude, he hits some nukes.
Yeah, I've never met Tanner.
Yeah, I wish you could. He's so chill.
Yeah.
But he came up, and I want to say like the tying run was on third. Go ahead for us was on second or something like that. And we had an extra dude on first. Bases loaded, 1 out. He comes up, and this pitcher's throwing. He's kind of out of the zone, right? Not controlling it well, but he's throwing decently hard. And he comes up, and he gets it to a 3-0 count. I'm like, dude, we're about to tie the game. You know, we're gonna move on, maybe, hopefully, and play extra innings and possibly win it. And he gets it to a 3-1. Then the guy throws a strike. In my head, I'm like, okay, take another, you know. And the next pitch, he swings, he rolls over, they turn 2, and that's how our season ended. And like, even though I didn't get in, I was out of the bullpen a lot during the regular season.
That's what I was about to ask you. How many innings you got your freshman year?
And it wasn't because I necessarily threw hard. I just mixed it well enough to where I kept hitters off balance.
How hard did you throw coming in?
80.
80? What are you at now? Like you've hit like 91 before, haven't you?
I've topped at 91.
Wow.
But you know, sit high 80s.
Yeah.
But I didn't play a lot that year. But I just remember being in.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm all over the place. I could talk baseball for hours.
Oh, of course.
Came in as a 2-way. Had a talk with Brand and Blake McKnight because Blake said like, "Hey, we need to make Dill a 2-way."
Was Blake a coach then?
Pitching coach.
Gotcha.
And we sat down with Brand and he's like, "Hey, we figured you would get more reps just being a PO and you'd be able to travel varsity." And in my head, I'm like, "That's a no-brainer." Like I love pitching more than I did hitting, and I said, and I felt like I was better at it, and I knew I wanted to play varsity. And not a knock on JV. But I was just like, dude, I just want to play varsity and help the team out, you know? And so I was like, yeah, I'll do that. But back to the tournament, I just remember I didn't get in. I went and warmed up one time, but didn't get in. And
what was that atmosphere like? Because I mean, I have yet to experience that.
That's what I'm trying to get at, is that it was so different than the regular season. You know, we try and be as hyped as we can during a regular season game. But when you get to that tournament, I can't explain it, but it was just like a different feel. Like every pitch, you're on the edge of the dugout, and you're just like, pitcher throws a strike, and you're like, let's freaking go, you know?
Yeah.
And every run you score, you're like, that's huge.
And it's at US Ballpark, and like all the teams are there watching. The game's televised.
And we knew we were a good team, and like we knew we could have won that tournament. Yeah, it doesn't always work out like that, you know. But dude, it's. I wouldn't say it was nerve-wracking or nervousness or nothing, but it was just like everybody's watching you. You know, you're trying to perform your best, and like every run you
it's hard to slow the game down.
It's hard
with playing with that much pressure on you.
And I remember going down to warm up, and they sent down Dustin Eby, who was a senior, who was one
I've heard a lot about Eby.
Him and DK were both our workhorses.
Yep.
And I believe DK either pitched in that game or the one prior, and so he was kind of done.
Was Hoff a starter that year?
Mm-hmm.
He was.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And Eby pitched the first game of the tournament, and I think we lost. And so he went down to the bullpen this last game and was getting loose. You know, he's like, I'm going to do whatever I can to help our team. And I remember warming up next to him, and I'm like, frick, I'm not getting in. You know, I was like, I'm not going in. And so I just I was like, hey, go get him, Eby. You know. But yeah,
what was y'all's record in that tournament?
So it was double elimination. I think we went like 1-2.
Okay, so you did get one win.
I think. I wouldn't quote me on
so
that.
So it was, I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, but my freshman year, your sophomore season, didn't you have an injury that you were dealing with
did.
all off season?
Yeah.
I can't remember how many, because were you one of the guys in the rotation that year? Or were you kind of like off and on because of the injury?
Right. So freshman year, I was out of the pen. I got a couple spot starts, and that was just because some things happened with some guys on the team, injuries, whatever. But it was still, rewarding to get a start as a freshman, my size, stuff like that. Sophomore year, I came into it, working extremely hard to be more.
And you were like 30 pounds heavier.
Yeah.
Coming in sophomore year.
And I remember going into it like, I'm going to work as hard as I can to at least try and get a starting spot. But I hurt my middle finger, playing long toss with Kellen Maxwell. You remember him?
So
right?
of course.
And I remember I threw the ball.
So that's what it was? Was it a finger? It was a finger injury. Oh.
I threw the ball, and I was like, oh, my gosh, like, what was that? And it was just like a sharp pain through the end of my finger, and my middle finger. And so Kellen threw it back. I grabbed it. I threw it again. And I was like, oh, my God. And I literally...
you got to have your middle finger to be able to throw
That's what I'm saying. I throw two seams, change. Everything comes off that middle finger. And, I did not know what it was. And so I went to Sammy, the trainer at the time, and I had her kind of help me out, and we had a good direction of how to handle it because Brian Adamas prior to that year, I believe it was my freshman year.
That's what I'm trying to remember. Who our four guys
would have been his junior year
because it would have been
sophomore year.
Yeah, it would have been Hoff. It would have been Adamas, and then Loge, and then were you the fourth one the whole year?
No.
Who was the other one?
Who was it? We're missing somebody.
Now, wait, that year it might have been, I think they were still doing 3 game series.
3 games.
Yeah.
Oh, I think you're right.
You did have some starts that year, though.
No.
No, you didn't have a single start?
I don't think so.
Wait, so were you injured the whole year?
So when that finger injury happened, that was in the fall. And I remember Sammy and Brand, they shut me down. I couldn't throw it or nothing, which was fine. And I worked a lot with Sammy to kind of figure it out. But back to what I said, Brian, he had the same exact finger injury, and which we thought was weird. And so Sammy already kind of knew how to handle it just a little.
That is weird.
Right.
Did you know, was it an official name for what the injury was? Do you remember?
No, they didn't tell me.
So it was just you couldn't put pressure on the middle finger.
I could go about my normal day doing whatever. Right. But when a ball would literally come off my fingertips at somewhat of a velocity.
Yeah, just aggravating pain.
Not even hard. Yeah, it just aggravated and it hurt. And so I worked with Sammy a lot. Well, then spring rolled around and I was just out of the bullpen. And I think that was Zach, Levi, and I. It was like a 3-headed monster out of the bullpen.
Levi was a starter.
Was it Levi?
Yes, it was Levi.
Okay.
He was a starter. His freshman year, because he's been a starter all 4 years, I remember him getting starts.
We had a good bullpen that year, and it was a lot of fun. But I remember talking with Brand either at the end of the year or maybe the next year. I think it was the next year, my junior year, we were talking about it. And he was like, yeah, I had plans to have you as our starting pitcher. He said, but when that finger injury happened, he goes, I just thought it'd be safer if I just put you in the bullpen and we just worked with you out of the bullpen. That way it's not stress on your finger. And I'm like, yeah, I don't mind that. It probably worked out for the best that way anyway. That way I didn't hurt myself again.
And that year was, to say the least, pretty disappointing. I remember, I think we went on an 11-game losing streak at one point, it was every game was a loss by 1 or 2 runs. We were in every game, we just could never finish.
That's the most frustrating part is we were a good competitive team. But it was just we just let games slip away, or we were just right there and we just couldn't do it.
And then, of course, your junior year, the next year, boy, we were on a roll, man. We were rolling. We were 13-7. 6-2 in the conference, about to go play CMU in a
I think they were 10th at the time or something like
yeah, we were going to go play them under the lights on a turf field, like the high school field near Fayette. Mm-hmm. And then I come down to the field house to get ready to get on the bus, and there's no bus there. Mm-hmm. And our whole coaching staff is in Coach Brand's office, and this is the day after the NBA had just canceled the rest of their season. And I'm like, well, I know where this is going. Yeah. And I think we all waited there for like an hour and a half. We all went into the like baseball and softball went into the field house, and they announced it and said, "Well, folks, yeah, we are canceled for at least 2 weeks." And right when I said that, I was right when they said that, I was like, "We're not playing the rest of the year. We're going to go home, but we're not going to come back." The world just turned upside down, dude.
I remember them telling us the hope was like, "You guys will be back in 2 weeks."
Yes, I remember the date. I remember it was like March 29th, and that was what everyone was saying. And I was like, "No, this is not happening."
They sent us home. I was like, part of me was like, dude, we're playing so well.
Oh, yeah.
And in my mind, I'm like, okay, it's going to be 2 weeks. We're going to come back. It'll be all right.
We'll be all right. Everything will be okay. Yeah.
But then as like every day passed, it just felt like one thing was shutting down after the other, and then another, and then another. And it's just like our season.
Do you remember how like eerie things were back then? Mm-hmm. It was just like, wait a minute, is this really happening? Are we going home? Are we going to all virtual classes? Does our season just get canceled? Like,
so with the season, top part of it, dude, we were 6-2 in conference.
Yeah,
of the games we played, and like 13-7.
13-7. Yep.
And I think that was the best start. Like, I don't know record wise, but I know team chemistry and like.
Oh yeah, and that's.
Dude, we were clicking on all cylinders.
We were, dude. We just never get. I remember, and whenever I had my player spotlight last fall, and they, one of the questions is, "What's your favorite baseball memory?" I have no doubt it was that weekend when we had like 3 walk-offs in 4 games, and we swept through, dude. That was the funnest I've ever had playing the game of baseball.
That was electric.
It was, dude. And it was so sad that we had that season taken away from us, because that would have been the year we made it to the conference tournament.
And you never know, like. We could have went into CMU, and it may not have went the way we thought it was. Mm-hmm. But in terms of overall confidence and cockiness, I'll say we were kind of cocky.
Yeah. We're playing with a little swagger.
But in overall confidence, dude, like, it was so disappointing when we were trying to push it, too, because we were all outside, like, with our bags. And
I remember.
We're getting on this bus.
There was no bus there, and everyone brought their bag out and just put it outside. And we're like, we're going, man.
It's like, no, I ain't. And we're like... like we knew what was happening.
I remember you had the optimistic kids, and then you had the doomers like me. Everyone was like, no, shut up, man. We'll be back in 2 weeks. I'm like, no, we're not. It's like, we're going home and we ain't coming back.
I think it was the same year we had 4 game sets, and then I think going into conference they switched it to 3. And it was already planned.
You remember how I think we had it was 3 game sets, but up to the point where we were about to play CMU, we had like 8 conference games, and it was all like 2 game sets against cross-divisional teams. Because I think we played. I think William Penn and Clark like came to our place. That was the. I think that was the. We played. Was it Grandview?
I think I pitched against.
I think we like split against Clark and swept William Penn, or it could be the other way around. And then we swept Grandview on our field, and then we split with Culver. Because I remember you almost threw a no-hitter against Culver.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, too.
Yeah. But I can't remember how long we had to wait before they announced that everyone was going to get an extra year of eligibility.
It was a while, I think, because NCAA, I don't know if they were going to do it or not, but I remember, I want to say, like, JUCO was one of the first ones to kind of offer it.
Right.
And then NAI followed, and then I think... NCAA. I don't know if it's in that
and
order.
Honestly, now that I'm thinking about that, this memory is like just coming back randomly. I want to say it was April Fool's Day in our group chat, and I think that by then they had so that's April 1st. But by then they had announced that NAI players would be awarded, spring athletes would be awarded an extra year of eligibility. Right. And I think Pat got in and said, well, guys, after long consideration, I've decided not to come back next year and get on with my life. And I remember responding like, Pat, you are without a doubt the best baseball player I have ever played with. And he responded, he was like, April Fool's. I was like,
you looked at your phone, you're like, oh, it is.
I was like, oh, it is April 1st. Yeah. Oh, how did I not see that coming? But whenever they announced that, how long did it take? Like, did you know, like, immediately that I wanted to play a 5th year? I want to get a master's. You immediately? It was just like, it was a matter of just working out logistics.
Yeah, I didn't know, like, what I would study.
Right.
Stuff like that.
Right.
Dude, baseball has been so fun, or so good to me, but fun as well. And it's just like, dude, I just want to keep playing, you know?
And honestly, like, especially like playing at this level, the thing that I would try and tell everyone is, like, at the end of the day, you're playing a children's game.
Yeah.
You know, you got to have fun. Yeah, win or lose, you got to have fun. None of us are going to be getting drafted anytime soon. It's like, you just got to go out there. You got to play the game that you played since you were a kid. And honestly, I can't imagine what it's going to be like when I have to, like, when I'm not playing baseball anymore. Of course, like that period for you is a lot more near in the future than it is for me. So, like, what this is your last year. How do you think it's gone so far? What do you want to get out of this year? And let's see, because, like, the organizational leaders, you're getting a master's in organizational leaders, and that's what, like, a 14 months, I think.
Accelerated is like 14 months.
Okay, so what's your plan after this season?
So, back to what you said earlier about the children's game.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. Answer whatever.
You're good. My parent, like, just to kind of bounce off that.
Yeah.
What my mom has said, and I'm sure my dad said it too, but my mom said, like, hey, you've got plenty of time later in life to be an adult. Like,
oh yeah.
You're an adult now, but you have plenty of time to worry about that kind of adult stuff later. Like, have fun while you can before life gets on you. You know? And so I was like, you know what? Like, you're right. And that kind of, like, helped me more. And, like, I'm gonna play my 5th year. You know,
that's what Jose keeps telling me now. He's like, I'll try and do his accent. He's like, Lem. He's like, play baseball as long as you can, because once it's gone, man. Yeah. Adulting is hard, man. And he said he'd give anything to go back and just pick up that little white baseball again. And that's what I think is so beautiful about the game. Is, like, at the end of the day, it really is a children's game.
Well,
and we're out here playing. It's what got us here. It's what's giving us scholarship money.
Exactly. That's I'm here at college, is to play baseball and get an education. But along with that, I talk to Hunter Hancock every now and then, and he's like the same way. And him, Yates, Pat, Hoff, like, I haven't talked to Hoff in a while, but I know most of those guys would be like, dude, I'd give anything to play again. You know, just not worry about a job or doing this and that. And it's definitely something I'm taking in, you know, just because you don't know what life holds. But yeah.
So how do you think this year started off so far?
I think good, dude. I mean, it seems for the most part everybody's vibing well. That, you know, we've had a couple rough games. Like the other day, you know, I think I gave up 2 in the first inning with 2 walks, and it was more of a bullpen day, right? And so I knew, like, that was all I was getting. And of course, like, you gave up those 2 runs in the first inning, but I was thinking to myself, I was like, you know, if we treat this game kind of regularly, like, I'd say, Dill, you were scheduled to pitch Saturday, and we let you just go like 4 or 5 innings, you know, you would have settled in. The game would have been closer. We probably would have been in that game. It's tough to win a Johnny Allstaff. You know what I mean? It's very tough because you get a lot of different looks, and you don't know how hitters are going to hit off each person. You got to hand it to William Woods, though. They were piecing up some balls. Oh, yeah, for sure. And the 2 runs just reminded me, it is a children's game, and I've been beating myself up a lot about, like, dude, I should have thrown a changeup to that lefty so he didn't get a base hit and scored the 2 runs. But, like, looking back on it, it's like, well, you know, you've played baseball long enough, Dill, to where you know that things like that are going to happen, you know, and not everything's going to be, you know, a 0 shutout every time. Like, it's just going to happen. And part of it is thinking, like, hey, it's just a game. There's other things in life. Like, you want to focus on baseball and you want to work as hard as you can while you're playing it. Yeah. But, like, dude, there's other things in life that are far more important, like family, friends. And honestly, like, the most important thing about this children's game that we play is not the win-loss column. It's really, it's those relationships you're going to build with those dudes that you spend so much time with. The win-loss helps with memories. Yes. You know? It does, of course. Of course, and we're able, because, I mean, we proved that during this conversation. We were able to talk about the different memories we've had from each season. But like later on in life, like, you know, we still talk about Pat. We still talk about Hunter Hancock. It's because of those relationships. Exactly. And, like, dude, like, guys from my freshman year, like DK and EB, like, I remember rooming with them and just being in the same room with them and them talking about not only pitching, but just like funny things that has happened to them in their life and stuff like that. And it just helped to form that bond. And I'll never forget that. And so every time I see DK, it's a little harder with EB because I think he lives down in Tampa Bay now. But like, EB shows up, DK shows up every now and then. It's just like, yo, what up, dude? Anyway,
baseball is such a peculiar game because it's one of the games where you have to be good at failing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Especially like as a hitter, I think it's like most of the time I go up to the plate, I'm gonna get out. That's just how the game works, and I feel like that can be so hard for some people because you really think about it, like each level that we've gone up from, whether it be from like middle school ball or travel ball up to high school ball, now up to college ball, the game just keeps getting quicker.
Right.
And the only way to slow it down, in my opinion, is to just not take it that seriously. Like you go out there and don't think, oh my gosh, am I going to make an error? Am I going to make an error? Am I going to throw this ball? Am I going to throw this ball right down the gut? Is he going to hit it over the wall? Blah, blah, blah. Am I going to strike out? Well, it's like, no, just have fun, man. Like whatever happens. I had an assistant coach in high school who is the former like first base coach for the Cincinnati Reds. In fact, and multiple other teams. If you go to Cooperstown, New York, and you go to Ken Griffey Jr.'s little section, he's in the picture of he's shaking Ken Griffey's hand as he's rounding first during his 500th home run. And I'll never forget how many times before a game, like when we have like after we do a prayer and we do some like really cool chant or whatever, because our head coach wanted us to take it, this is the most serious thing in the world. Right. And some coaches are just like that, but he would always tell us, it was so funny, he'd be like, what's the number one thing you guys got to remember when you go out on the field today? And everyone would be quiet. And it's like, because they don't know what the right answer is. He'd be like, have fun, guys. Have fun. If you're not having fun, what are you doing out here?
Dude, it's true. It's true. And so with Ken Griffey's 500th home run, was that at Busch Stadium? I believe it was against
I am not sure. It very well could have been.
Anyway, but yeah, dude, the important thing is to always have fun. Like, I've learned. So college has helped me a lot because in high school I didn't play a whole lot, and again I was a two-way, so like I didn't play second, and I got in to pitch every now and then. But I played a lot in the summer, and then when I got here, like I just have like a different, I guess, look on baseball and mindset because every opportunity you're out there is like a gift, because you don't know if an injury is going to happen, you don't know what's going to happen. But why be so nervous and you're clenching your cheeks about a situation? Instead, have the mindset like, dude, I'm better than this guy that I'm facing, or like for like a hitter, dude, I can get a hit against this guy. Yeah. And it's just like, why be nervous when you can just be relaxed, loose, and you can play freely, And it's easier said than done, that's for sure. Especially when you got fans behind you, like, here we go, everybody's chanting. You got freaking CMU or MNU types where they're just making a bunch of noise over there. Even us, we make a lot of noise, but they get the CMU and MNU and those teams get their chants going. It's just like, dang, I can feel it, But
do you ever isn't it crazy to kind of when you step back and think about how like serious we as a society take something like sports? Like it's like I love this. I love the description that I mean I've heard other people say it that some people give sports is at the end of the day it is a children's game. We have the most athletic people in the world playing a game that kids like to play whenever they have nothing to do and it's a nice day outside. Right. It's really remarkable to think that like whenever COVID hit, what really made me, I'm being serious, and you can ask a lot of this is the same way for a lot of people. What really made me think that this is going to be an issue is the moment that the NBA canceled their season. Yeah. They're like, we are postponing things indefinitely. I was like, oh, this is serious.
We're actually doing this right now.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And like immediately people were like, do you remember that like, I think it was like a period of 2 months when there were like no live sports on.
There's nothing.
And luckily like I think like Tiger King came out on Netflix. The Jordan documentary, and it was like, oh my gosh, it's like we can't ever have this happen again.
No, because NBA shut down, and then like following right after that, it was like MLB, NHL. I'll throw in soccer, but I don't watch a whole lot of it.
And honestly, like, you'll hear people complain sometimes about like how much money the athletes make, and I'm like, and I always respond with, imagine a world without sports.
Right.
I mean, we had a little taste of that for 2 months, and it was not fun.
No,
it's like we can't just work all day, dude. But like sports is so unique. It can unite people for so many different like cities. You'll put your differences aside. If you're from Milwaukee and the Bucks win their first NBA Finals, it's like, dude, I don't care what your political beliefs are. I don't care what you think about this person or that. It's like, dude, we won the NBA Finals. Let's go celebrate.
When sports went away, like, and this is how it was for a lot of people, but like genuinely, I did not know what to watch. Like, I watch stuff on Netflix and stuff, but you can only watch so much of that before it's like, I need to do something else. Like, and you get outside, you go play catch with whoever, you do whatever, you work out, you do all that stuff, but it comes to a point to where like, dude, I need to watch a baseball game, or I need to watch a football game, or whatever it is. And it was weird without sports.
And it was weird seeing everything come back with no fans.
Yeah.
I mean, that really switched everything up. You were like, dude, this really is a different, like, the fans really do. The fans are, absolutely. You ever hear when, like, a coach, they might win, like, a really important game, and they might yell out to the crowd, to the fans, thanks for showing up. Like, we literally wouldn't be here without you. Right. They mean that. They mean it. If there's no fans, there's no people that care about the game, then that game's not going to be played. At the end of the day, like, there's a market for sports.
A great example of that, I think, would be here at Evangel with the basketball team.
Yeah.
Us baseball guys, we show up dang near every home game, and that's the way it has been since I've been here. But up until this year, we've had good teams, but never, like, I guess, exciting, like where we were winning a lot of games. We had good teams, but this year it's like, you can tell from it because we have a student section now, an actual student section where people show up and watch the games, and it's loud in there.
Yeah.
And before, it was just a bunch of us baseball guys.
Loud in that little dome, that old dome.
Yeah. But now, when the opposing team comes in, and they can hear everything echoing, and we're chirping at them.
Yeah.
That makes a big difference. And I even texted one of the basketball guys before they left for their championship game. I said, like, hey, want to let you know that the baseball team says good luck, and that to absolutely, whoop up on William Penn. And he said, thanks, bro. I appreciate it. I'll make sure to let the guys know. He said, you guys have no idea like how much of an impact you guys make in that gym. He goes, you stress the frick out of the other team.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, we make sure to let them know whose gym they're in.
Yeah.
It's a impact fans make.
It really is, dude, and it's so fun to see. Like, it's so like surreal to see like the impact that like sports really has, and like the way that like rivalries form and everything.
Yeah.
Like you literally, if you're like, I'm just gonna use like a random example. Like, let's say like you were born in Alabama, you're either an Auburn or an Alabama fan, and if you're an Alabama fan, you, for no other reason than being an Alabama fan, hate every person who goes to Auburn.
Yeah, for no
and that's
reason.
like for no reason other than the fact that they're at Auburn. But that's what makes the game so fun.
Yeah.
And it's really so surreal to see the large impact that sports has had on society, like bringing people together after a world war. Or think about like when Jackie Robinson became the first African American baseball player. Like that sent cultural shockwaves through the United States. It's like, oh my gosh, there's a black person playing baseball. Maybe we aren't that different.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's like Shohei Ohtani.
And that's what's I think so beautiful about like the idea of like Jackie Robinson Day is everyone for like one day for like April 15th, just everyone wears 42.
And that's really cool to see. Just everybody wearing the same number.
What was that? I think that, of course, the movie was kind of like, it was kind of cheesy, kind of cliche, but it was a well done movie. Yeah. And I remember the scene where I think was it Pee Wee Reese who like walks over to Jackie and he's like maybe one day we'll all wear 42. That way they can't tell us apart.
Right.
Dude, it's so crazy to think like what we are is like as a species that we value something like a children's game that much.
I think
it's both like it's crazy, but it's beautiful at the same time.
It's something to give people to get away from their jobs.
Yeah. To get away from the everyday stresses of life. Yeah. I know.
It's just something to watch to where you can be like, oh, this is not nice just to sit back and watch somebody play something.
And to think for us personally, it's literally gotten us here. Like, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't be at Evangel University if I didn't have the baseball scholarship.
To be honest, I wouldn't either probably. If I wasn't playing baseball, like at any school, I would probably be studying somewhere else, like Murray State or something, like I said earlier. Because of baseball, that's why I'm here for the most part, and I could have went to Missouri State for all I know. That's where my sister goes right now, and I could have been there, just going to school with her. Yeah, but
well, Dill, I can say, dude, it really has been fun playing with you all these years, and it's really going to be weird next year, not being able to back up Austin Dill in the infield,
dude. And it's when I had Rafa behind me, dude. He was a great leader. Like I could always hear him.
Yeah,
dude. It's the same with you and Sank and everybody, dude. Like. Especially you, because every time I get that ball from you at third base, I'm like, oh, there's Lamb.
Yeah.
And it'll be different.
And I always try to make sure, I feel like when I always try to say something between every single pitch. If I don't say something between every, I feel like I'm not in the game. I feel like everyone else is in the game, even though I know that's not necessarily the case. Yeah. It's just I care about it, and it kind of keeps me focused. Right. You know what I mean? And then again, at the end of the day, I always got to remind myself, I really don't care about the win-loss record, dude. I'm out here to have fun. I'm out here to make relationship with these dudes that I'm going to talk to for the rest of my life.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the beauty of it.
And dude, and to answer your question earlier in terms of what I'm doing after,
yeah,
I really couldn't tell you. I know I want to work in baseball, but I also want to keep playing baseball, and so.
Hopefully we have Major League Baseball again.
Freaking lockout. But I don't know, and I've looked in maybe playing independent ball. Stuff like that. I
definitely think you'd have the skill set to do it.
I appreciate it. And
I mean, dude, you have been by far my favorite pitcher to play behind because you go so quick. I can't stand when people, beat around the bush. You got to walk 10 feet in front of the mound to get the ball each time. Yeah. You get that ball and you're like, all right, let's go. What's my next pitch?
I'm always thinking, bro. Yeah. I got to think okay, what did he just swing at? Okay, what do I need to do here to set him up for this next pitch? And
being a pitcher is really unique compared to any other position in baseball. Or I guess catcher might be a little similar because you're literally a part of every pitch. And that was honestly of course, I went to a small high school. Everyone pitches when you go to a small high school. So I pitched too, and I hated pitching. I hated pitching. I hated being a part of every single pitch. I was like, yo, I'm fine with playing infield and getting 6 plays a game.
Right. I know we're running out of time, but I could literally talk about pitching for hours we've been doing. Baseball in itself has been such a blessing to me, and dude, I could talk about it for hours, just about anything.
Yeah.
MLB lockout, pitching, dude, even fielding and hitting, just because I did it for a period of time. Anything. I'm talking anything. But
well, Dill, I can say you're welcome back on this program anytime, and I really appreciate you for being my first guest. I had a great time. Austin Dill, everyone. He's a fifth-year senior. He's a starting pitcher. He's the number one. He's the ace on the baseball team. If you don't come out to come watch him this year, I don't like you. You're not my friend. I'm just letting you all know that. So come out and support the Valor baseball team. Austin, thank you very much, bro.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye, everyone.